But this is not without fault. It is not without trouble. It is not without the issues of life as we put it. And so as much as the advancements are coming on and continuing in our daily lives, so are also the issues that come with it. And today, we're focusing on an aspect of the conversation that talks about digital finance and personal cybersecurity. When we talk about security, we always think that it's someone else's responsibility. But if we're going to benefit from those softwares as corporates, as SMEs, as individual bankers, as finance people, then we need to take some personal responsibility for our security while we're playing in the space on the internet, because that space is everyone else's space. Back in the day, we started in this country with things like the e-switch. It was, widely circulated. And then we went on to the mobile money. Today, almost all the telcos are presenting some form of offering in the area of mobile money. And I dare say that in terms of saturation, mobile money is one of those things that has saturated.
They call me Kwame Short. I don't like long things at all. That's why I signed up for the CalBank Snap account as a CalBank agent. It's easy to open and perform transactions just like this. Jack, it's a CalBank Agents Banking is the new biometric banking channel that allows any customer of CalBank to make transactions at their convenience. You can open a CalBank Snap account, make cash deposits and withdrawals, transfer funds, pay your bills, and also buy airtime in 3 easy steps. First, select your transaction, then provide your details, and finally, confirm your transaction with your fingerprint. It's that convenient and secure. Always remember to take your receipt and look out for an SMS after your transaction before walking away. You can find CalBank agents everywhere. Shops, general merchants, pharmacies, mobile money agents, and supermarkets.
CalBank Agents Banking, your neighborhood bank. Forward together.
Don't forget the balloons,
check,
the DJ,
check,
and the drinks.
Listen, honey, I've got this party under control, okay?
Daddy, don't forget our birthday cake with the sparkly candles. Daddy, are you there?
The party's at 4 p.m., honey. Don't be late.
CalBank, forward together.
Don't forget the balloons,
Check.
the DJ,
Check.
and the drinks.
Listen, honey, I've got this party under control, okay?
Daddy, don't forget our birthday cake with the sparkly candles. Daddy, are you there?
The party's at 4 p.m., honey. Don't be late.
With the all-new CalPay on the CalBank app and website, you don't have to worry about carrying cash. Just place your order with your favorite merchant and pay with a Visa or MasterCard, mobile money or CalBank account, or scan and pay. Visit the Play Store or App Store and download the CalBank app today. CalBank app. Forget to cash.
CalBank, forward together.
We have had this conversation over time about how exposed we are. You know, people call them conspiracies and all of that. I mean, there are even things about your phone, you know, recording the conversations you have, even when you haven't entered your password. And, you know, for those who use iOS, the places on your phone you can go to and find out that everywhere you've been to, the phone has picked your location.
Yeah.
You know, things like that, private information, listening to phone calls. There's a demonstration I saw on an iOS platform, which actually shows all the conversations you've had, voice, not text, in script. Now, that's a bit unnerving, isn't it? In your initial comments too, as I know that you are in charge of the cybercrime unit and you've done this for over 17 years. I mean, the fact that someone can have complete access to the things that should otherwise be hidden. Before we even come to the issue of finance.
Oh yeah, these are things that it can be done. Our systems can be compromised, but it is all because sometimes we allow it also to happen. We are not conscious of what can be done. So anybody sends anything and we accept it. So if usually it's coming from somebody you know, then it's very difficult. But otherwise, I don't accept images or videos from people I do not know. So unless it's in a group, and if it's in a group, I don't even download it until I get to know, maybe I trust the source where it's coming from. So these are things that can be done easily, and our systems can be compromised easily with no problems at all. It can
Now,
be done.
Doc, I mean, you know, just a follow on there. I know we'll have a lot of time to talk about some of these things into detail. But what he talked about was, I think it was an email that was sent as a demonstration. And when the person clicked on the link, it was malicious. So it gave him access through the back door to pretty much everything on the phone.
He sent an SMS. What he did was that he sent an SMS pretending to be like a service provider, like let's say a bank. And then naturally it will go in the thread of CalBank, for example. So you think that it's coming from CalBank because all messages from CalBank goes into a particular thread. So you just click on it, and then that's it. He's got access to you. So you need to be sure of where it is coming from. But the good news is that sometimes they will make little grammatical errors.
Things.
And
Small
very
things.
small things that you can look out for just to be able to know that, no, this one is not coming from there. But it is possible. It can be done. He sent you an SMS thinking that it's coming from your bankers. And the normal thing is that you would want to click. You click, and then they tell you that the other app is down, and therefore this is a new app. So click and download, which is normal for everybody. So I always say be vigilant. Call your bankers. Find out, is it true that the app is no more in use and that we need to download a new one? Then it helps. You can, because you have access to your bankers. Call them. Let's be sure. In everything, don't take it from the face value. Just go, do some kind of due diligence, find out whether it is true. Because these are things that the ordinary eye may not be able to
miss.
Yes.
I mean, I saw an example, for example, you know, and let's say example at calbank.net.
Yes.
That was the first address.
Sure.
The second one was example at calbank.net.
Sure.
Except that the A in the first
it looks
is Cyrillic.
Sure.
And the one in the second was completely something else. And that's just the eye misses that kind of detail. Now, the question is, and Martha, maybe before your comments, let me just get your perspective on this thing that Doc is talking about. Should we then move away completely? I've met people who say, I don't do anything digital. People who are very learned and they've lived outside of this country, they've had exposure and all of that. It's the fear that there is a seeming imbalance between what the criminals are doing and what security is doing, so that at some point we feel that we are behind in terms of being a par or catching up. And for that reason, apart from being vigilant, the other way is for fear to take over. What assurances can we give people within the finance space? Because that's what we're talking about today. From your perspective.
Well, and then I could see the insecurity that customers experience when they have to use different platforms because of scenarios like this. But it is important to note that we cannot move away from digital finance. Digital finance is critical. It's the means to drive inclusion in the first place. And the convenience it brings to customers cannot be emphasized. Yeah. You can look at just COVID-19 and you know that it was very critical that we were in the position to provide services to our customers using digital channels. Yeah. We can all imagine what would have happened without it. It means that the infection rate could have been higher than we recorded and are still recording. So for me, digital finance is critical. We cannot move away from it. But that is why, as banks, we've put in a lot of measures to make sure that customers are secured. Let me just take this opportunity to mention some of the products we have at CalBank and the security that we've put in place. But that do not cancel out personal cybersecurity. As customers, as individuals, prospective customers, we need to be very, very vigilant. Like Doctor said, we need to pay attention to details. So we've put measures in place, but we still look forward to the customer being responsible for his or her own personal cybersecurity. So for CalBank, for instance, we currently issue cards. When I say payment cards, I'm referring to Visa, MasterCards. We issue out debit cards, we issue out prepaid cards. We actually acquire. Acquiring means we're able to facilitate business payments for our customers. That is business customers and corporate. And our cards are chip and PIN enabled, which means that to do a transaction, you are required to provide a PIN. This is the level of security we've put in place. We also have 3D Secure. 3D Secure is actually providing extra security for the customer as the customer transacts online. And it is critical because these days with advanced internet access is very common. And so we are doing a lot of transactions on our phones, on our PCs, and other gadgets. So it is important that we have 3D Secure so that as you transact, you use either MasterCard secure code or you use V by V in terms of Visa to give you some security. So as much as customers are reluctant, we've put these measures in place, security and protocol.
When you say V by V, you mean verified by Visa?
Verified by Visa, exactly. Yeah. Right. So we put these security measures in place just to create more convenience or make customers more comfortable to use the various channels. So when we leave cards and we look at mobile, we have a mobile banking service. We run an app, and then we also have a USSD version. Mobile phone adoption in Ghana is over 100% now. So
everybody has a mobile phone.
And more than
Pretty
one.
much.
More than one. People have 2, 3 mobile phones. So it is difficult to say.
Do you remember back in the day when? Do you remember back in the day when mobile phones started to proliferate, and people used to have those very huge Mobitel phones, and then at some point it got to the point that people got 2 handsets.
Oh yes.
And they said, hold on, me call on my left. you know. So I mean, I get where you're coming from. I think we've come a long way.
We cannot.
And the average professional today or business person will have more than one device.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's how come our adoption rate is higher than the population, because people are carrying multiple phones. So my point is that it will be difficult to say that you're carrying gadgets. There's so much convenience, right? At your fingertips, and you're not going to use digital finance or digital channels. So another thing we've done in terms of mobile banking is to provide an app that customers can download and then do their transactions. In fact, it provides more because you're actually able to transact on the app. As part of security, what we've done is to make sure that every transaction being done on the platform or on the app is authenticated with a PIN and one-time password, OTP. OTP is very safe because it stays for a very minimal time on your phone, or as in the message you receive and then after 3 minutes, highest is inactive.
When you say
can't use it.
OTP, it's one-time password.
Yes, one-time password.
It means you use it once.
You use it once.
And you can't use it again.
You use it once and you can't use it again.
And even in the same transaction, if you delay for more than a certain number of, it expires.
It's expired. So these are extra measures we've put on the app to create some comfort for customers and to make them feel secured transacting on the app. So that is what we've done in terms of the app. Of course, before you can even access the app, you need a password. So there are levels of security we've put in place for comfort. We also have a USSD service. That is what we call...
Before you go to the USSD, tell us a bit more about the app. What can a customer or a beneficiary use the app to do? And how do they get it? If you're on iOS, on an Apple device, how do you get it? If you're on an Android device, how do you get it? I'd like someone to try. You're watching us this afternoon. This is the CalBank webinar series. We're having a conversation on digital finance and personal cybersecurity. And we're talking about the CalBank app. I'd like for someone to try and send us a question or an acknowledgement when we get to the Q&A session. Just to find out whether you've been successful in downloading it. And then we can sort of talk you through. But what's the convenience that it offers? What can I do with the app? Do I need to be a customer of CalBank before I can use the app?
Thank you, for that question. So you do not need to be a customer of CalBank to download and use the app. The app is actually available to our customers and non-customers as well. All you need to do if you're on Android is to go to the Play Store and download the app. If you're on iOS, you just have to go to the Apple Store and then download the app. And then you go.
And you'll find the CalBank app.
You'll find the CalBank app and just go through few formalities and then you are activated.
Emphasis on few.
Yes, yes, because we know customers do not have time, prospective ones do not have time. So few steps and then you're activated. You're actually provided the opportunity to link a payment option or a payment instrument. And I'm referring to a card, I'm referring to a mobile money wallet. I'm also referring to a CalBank account if you have any. If you don't have account, the app actually allows you to open an account. Right there and then you receive an account number, you are able to link it to the app. On the app, you are able to check basic banking information or do basic banking transactions like checking your balance, doing your statement, and you're able to do transfers. Aside from that, we have a
Are you able to make payments from CalBank to other banks?
Yes, transfers as in CalBank. Within CalBank, you can transfer from CalBank to another bank. You can actually transfer from CalBank to your own mobile money wallet and also to another person's mobile money wallet.
Can I pay my DSTV, my ECG, my water?
Yes. So bill payment is, I'm sure you've been using the app a lot.
Well, I've recently downloaded it, but I don't want to keep the goodness to myself.
Okay. So you can actually pay your bills. You have your DSTV, you have your GoTV. And the fun part is that we also have merchants. When I say merchants, I'm referring to restaurants, pharmacies, supermarkets that you can actually buy from and pay using the CalBank app. And then they are delivered to you.
If I'm a merchant, how do I get onto the app?
It's very simple. You just need to contact us, call our toll-free line, walk into any of our branches, send us an email.
Is it the 0800 500 500?
Yes, 0800 500 500. Show interest. We'll open an account for you, go through few formalities, and then you are set up on the payment platform to receive payments on the app. Okay.
Martha, I'll come back to you on the CalBank app, but Doc, let me come to you. Martha made a point about the fact that during COVID, had it not been for the digital offerings that the various financial institutions had, it would have been pretty difficult for people to transact. And rightly so, because there were lockdowns. And lockdown is simply what it is. I mean, nothing goes, nothing comes. But life has to go on. Bills have to be paid. People have to receive their money. Thankfully, there was mobile money. But people had their monies lodged not in their wallets, but also in their accounts. And they needed to move these funds around and pay people and get things delivered. We've talked about the value chain, delivery services being very useful in this process of digitization, because that's how you can sit in your home and order a beautiful pair of slippers and you get a knock on your door and it says, oh, you want so-and-so from so-and-so, and here it is. But in addition to that process is also the ability to be able to move the funds securely. So whether or not we like it, it's not just even about finance, but digitization is upon us. I remember when we were talking about cloud computing back in the day, the conversation was, I don't want to go into the cloud, it's not safe. And then somebody asked me a simple question. He says, do you have an email address? And I said, yes. He says, then you're already in the cloud. You know, I don't feel that we're quite stampeded. But the thing is that if you're watching us this afternoon, there is no option. The world has digitized. The world is moving, whether you move or you don't. Now our phones talk back to us. Very soon the cars we are making will talk back to us. You know, so we don't have a choice. give us some comfort that seeing as we don't have a choice in this business of digitization, and very soon we'll become completely obsolete if we choose not to participate, and we can't communicate with anyone. What are the assurances we have? Because sometimes we get the impression that the criminals have gone ahead of us. You know, now we just saw Maxwell demonstrate. You can get into my phone and into my darkest secret. Somebody say, if you don't want somebody to know a secret, you don't have a secret. Can anybody not have a secret? You know, and it's my money we're talking about.
Yeah.
What are the assurances, you know, from where you sit? Start with what you've seen in your time at the cybercrime unit. What are some of the examples you've seen? And then dovetail that conversation for us a bit, if you will, into what are the assurances that we can have as a people, as Ghanaians, on our local level? What's going on to protect us? What's going on to protect my money? The banks are putting in place systems, but what is the state doing? What is the Ghana Police Service? I mean, I feel protected that you're here. Let's share some thoughts in this general area.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. You see, just like you said, we have no option than to be part of the digital world now. And of course, one unfortunate thing is that the attack surfaces are many. When I say attack surfaces, I mean the vulnerabilities are so many. We can look at it from two angles. One is, let's say, the various institutions and what, as a nation, we can do. And that is where the Cybersecurity Center now comes in. The good news is that the government has now established the Cybersecurity Center that has developed policies, maybe trying to, for example, we have the Bank of Ghana cybersecurity policy. Now the banks are now being forced to follow certain regulations just to make sure that we have security. And even at the police service, and that is why we have the cybercrime unit. The cybercrime unit is there now. We have a digital forensic lab just to ensure that we are also able to go into devices just to make sure that we are able to trace some of these criminal activities to arrest perpetrators. We are getting these cybercrime units into the various regions. So one major thing that I have seen is when it comes to the various institutions, it's not that bad because they are being regulated now. The Cybersecurity Center is on their neck. Let's look at the banks. The bank BOG is on them, trying to ensure that they have these policies implemented. But the next thing is that is why I like the topic, that the way it was couched, personal cybersecurity. At your level, what are you also doing? Because if the bank's website is secured and you don't look at any link, you just click on any link that is purported to be from the bank, and then you just take you somewhere else, then who is to be blamed? You can't blame the bank. So personal cybersecurity is very key. I always say that the threat to our cybersecurity is something that we already know. For example, weak passwords is something that we know. Weak passwords is something that we know. Do not use your name for passwords.
Password 123.
Yes, 123. Yao. You use your name, Yao. Nothing, no caps, nothing. It's just Yao something. You put it there. Finish. We see some of these things, and even very, very important institutions, and they are attacked, and you realize that the password that was used was Richard, for example. I mean, you can't do this at this day and age. So people are using outdated softwares. We are not updating it. Softwares that already, they are not providing patches for them. That is what we are still using. People are still using Windows 7 to date. No patches are being provided. So these are all things, and then we forget that there are malicious softwares in the system. And I always say that every hour, about 5,000 malicious softwares are released into the system every hour. So can you imagine?
5,000
Yeah, about
across the world?
5,000 across the world, yes. And
Who's creating these softwares?
Oh, I mean, there are people
all
writing
over.
all over. They are writing these programs every day. Malicious software. I mean, they want to get into, now somebody's business is to get into your phone and get into your account, get into your system. So the malicious softwares they are writing it every day. So if you have all these things, then you need to protect them. So these are the threats that we face, and we need to let the people know. So One thing that we need to do a lot more, which I think we've not done, is awareness. We need to create awareness. Even our pen drives. I mean, you go to banks and they are playing around with pen drives.
I'm happy to say in CalBank we don't do pen drives.
Okay, yeah, of course. Now I think
this is why you should bank with CalBank.
So we forget that social engineering is there. Yeah. Social engineering basically means tricking people just to give out their very sensitive information, and it is all over. This issue where the guy just sent a text message. It's a very simple one. So. But a lot of people do not know.
On the subject of social engineering, let me just hit this point and then we can get your perspective. And awareness, like you said, is the key, because we need to get people to the point where we come out of the sleep and the slumber we are and realize that there's a marathon going on and we're still asleep.
Sure.
Now, people sit in, usually when people sit in spaces which are other than their place of work, they let their guard down and so they relax. So a good example, you sit in a let's say in a pub, or you sit at a restaurant and you're talking on your phone or in public transport. Oftentimes you hear people talk as if no one else is listening, and they share very sensitive information.
Very, very.
Is that an example of the social engineering being a source of leak of sensitive information that you're talking about?
Usually social engineering, it involves tricking you to give something out.
Information.
Yes. So we should also exercise some form of personal security by knowing that some information that we are giving out, or it is in a conversation, you think nobody is listening, but somebody is picking some few words out of them. So it goes beyond, apart from somebody calling you, these are mobile money people, it's more of social engineering. This is Ajua or London. You've not seen Ajua in a while, but yet you believe that somebody is calling you and he tells you that, oh, I'm sending you somebody you've not seen in a long while. Then you just agree. So it is all about the way we do our things, and we should realize that our world has changed and we have to change.
Doc, let me ask this question.
One other thing that we take for granted is just our physical security. What I mean by physical security is, if you leave your phone now and you don't even lock it, the chances are that somebody may pick it.
That's correct.
So we take it, and it's part of our cybersecurity. There's the beginning. Because we think of cybersecurity as just in the system, but it starts from the physical security.
From our attitudes.
Yes, from our attitude. What do we do we don't even have passwords on our phones, yet we have very sensitive information in there. We save everything in there. I always say, if you want to know your wife or husband, talk to his phone. That is when you really know who your husband or your wife is.
I know some husbands and wives who don't keep phones.
Okay, that's fine. It's good. It helps. Because your phone will always tell a lot more about you than your wife or your husband wouldn't know. So these are all, now go ahead with your question.
Just to add to doctors, being in digital finance for some years now, I think one other thing we see, I'm saying this because he spoke about letting your guard down. So you have some fraudulent activities happening, and in delving into them, you find that the activity was actually perpetrated by a close relative or
someone
friend,
in your immediate space.
Someone in your immediate space. So he was talking about putting your phone down and not locking it, and people sharing PIN numbers easily without, further consideration. And then the same people they stay with, the same people they spend most of their time with, are the ones who commit the fraudulent activity. And so we go searching, but from experience, most of the time it's within your space or your immediate, circles. So it is important that we do not let familiarity prevent us from taking care of our personal cybersecurity.
Right.
No matter how close the person is, it's important, it's critical that you still keep your banking information or digital finance information private.
So what's the caution here? Anything that will compromise your personal security, don't share with anyone. It doesn't matter whether they're family or not.
It's as simple as that. And if you share, then it means you are ready to take responsibility for
whatever.
Because you can't control what they're going to use that information for.
Exactly.
I'm going to be asking Maxwell a similar question very shortly. Maxwell, if you're listening. But Doc, before I go to Maxwell, talk to us about what are some of the examples of cybercrime that affects SMEs and corporates. Then we'll come to individuals also. Just so that we create that awareness, like you're saying. I'm an SME, I'm listening to us this afternoon. I'm a corporate, I'm listening to us. But all I know are malicious emails and a few things. But there are other points of entry. What are some of the other points of entry that you have seen reported to you, in your unit that you had to deal with? What are some of the examples for corporates, for SMEs?
Yeah. Usually, the most common crime, cyber crime in Ghana is fraud. Because we record 45% this year. Last year, we recorded 40% of all the crimes that we recorded. About 40% were related to
40%
fraud.
of all the crimes committed in this country
related to fraud.
Were related to fraud.
But in fact, we've done pretty well by reducing it because it used to be 60%. So fraud is quite high. Meaning, but if you talk about fraud is just deceiving people and so that they can part with some information or part with money.
Money, yeah.
That is all. So it means that we are so gullible. That is meaning that anything that we are told...
We're too trusting as a people.
Exactly. So that is one thing that it's so common in Ghana. It's very, very common. So, and how do we cure fraud? Is awareness, sensitization, awareness.
Not sanction.
Sanction helps. But then, you see, the person who is losing his guard must protect himself.
Of course.
And if he is not doing it, then the criminals obviously will take advantage of it. When sanctions comes in, then sanctions may come in just to make sure that it will serve as a deterrent to others. But if you allow yourself, naturally they would come in. And even, look, we have situations where Nigerians will sit in Nigeria, come into Ghana through the digital space, deceive people, or maybe go to the US, for example, deceive people, they part with money, and then they come to Ghana here, come and take it and go back. The same day. So tracing some of these things is very, very difficult.
It's difficult.
Yes, it's difficult.
Especially now that the world has become a global village, like we call it.
Global village. The guy is here. He's got, he will tell you, send it via this remittance services. So I don't want to mention any name.
No, naturally.
Yes. So he comes to Ghana to come and cash it, and then that same day he's on the next bus to Lagos. He's gone. So following some of these things is quite difficult. And even to be able to tell that the guy was moving from Nigeria to Ghana is another issue. Because you need to make sure that you follow the person, get to know that he was in Nigeria at the time. So how was he able to come to Ghana? Okay, so then most likely they are just crossing
coming
over.
and going, yeah.
Yes. So we try to put alerts on our various borders, and bingo, we get them. You see, so these are things that it takes time to be able to investigate, and it takes time to be able to arrest some of these guys. So the best thing is the personal. That is why I insist on the personal security.
Right.
It's the personal cybersecurity. Protect yourself, because it will take us time. If these guys are... Yeah, it will take us time to obviously get to the bottom of some of these issues.
Let's talk about the handling of information within our institutions. And we talk about clean desk policy. We talk about not leaving paperwork around when you're going home. We talk about making sure that things that need to be locked away are locked away. What are some of the safe practices that corporates, institutions, SMEs can teach the staff to do in terms of a clean desk policy towards this agenda?
Luckily for us, we have the data protection law. Every organization is supposed to have a data protection supervisor. If we are going by this, it doesn't take you, the head of cybersecurity, to come and do all these things. He should make sure that they will put in place policies to ensure that at least our data is well protected.
Right.
So that is why the Data Protection Commission has been set up. And they are also ensuring that everybody is registering. And that is why we are partnering with them to ensure that everybody registers. And then every organization has a data protection supervisor. And the data protection supervisor is to ensure that whatever processes, practices within the organization is put in such a way that my privacy is protected. The fact that I've come to bank with you and I've given you everything about me doesn't mean that you should just...
You should go and share it with someone else.
No. Staff shouldn't do that. The organization should not encourage that. There should be somebody in there to make sure that it is well protected. So these are things that are from the organization level, and then we as law enforcement, we also immediately there is a breach, then we come in to make sure that the person is punished by law. And now the good news is that there is law. So immediately you deliberately decide that you want to compromise somebody's privacy. Of course, the law will now touch, and then the law will touch you, and then make sure that the necessary sanctions are applied.
That you don't repeat it again.
No, exactly.
Right. Let me go to Maxwell. Maxwell, this one is for you. I was just talking to Doc, and I was asking him, Doctor, and I was asking him about what are some of the fail points, if you like, for SMEs and corporates where it comes to cybersecurity and cyber fraud. I'd like your perspective on that. And while you share those thoughts, also sort of dovetail into what are some of the points of exposure for the individual. You've already showed us one of those points of failure, which is clicking on malicious texts or malicious emails without verifying. What are some of the other areas that an institution should be looking out for as a point of failure regarding this conversation or an individual?
So what I can share is, first of all, I would side with Dr. Youngson, what he just mentioned concerning personal security. Right now, cybersecurity should be personal. We should personalize cybersecurity. And I'm so happy and I'm glad with what CalBank is really doing, creating awareness with these forums and stuff, because right now that is what we need. We need awareness creation. It is awareness creation that we need even here in our country. Because the digital space, internet has come to stay with us. So we need to create awareness to now the citizens to understand what cybersecurity is. Because you can have the best cybersecurity, you can have the best equipment, you can have the best infrastructure when it comes to security, and you can train your staffs to get to that level. But when your customers are not trained or your customers are lagging behind, it is your customers who end up compromising you. That's why I'm saying this is I can give a practical experience. Where I sit and from the work I do, we do pen tests for companies, and a pen test we did for a financial institution. They had their things at everything was on point. Their infrastructure, everything, but the fact that we were able to get access to a guest Wi-Fi. And these guest Wi-Fis are given to customers to use to do internet banking and stuff. And we were just given a guest Wi-Fi and the things we were able to do. So just think about it, that you have these things in place and then your customer is compromised. Like what I just did, I've just had access to your customer's phone. And your customer enters your bank MSS with this compromised phone. Through him, I'll get access to your guest Wi-Fi account. And through that, I can do whatever I want to do with your network. And you don't understand. So yes, personal security is what we now need. And Dr. Youngson also spoke about weak passwords, and yes, and not even just weak passwords, but even one password for 5 accounts. And I get a lot of those issues. People call me that the account has been compromised. You would see that by the time you end up triaging and then looking at investigating the issue, the person had his Facebook compromised, but because his Gmail, his Yahoo Mail, Hotmail accounts are all using the same password, because the Facebook was compromised, the other 3 accounts will end up getting compromised. So we should also take look at that. And like I said, all of this boils down to awareness creation. We need to do a lot of awareness creation. What CalBank, what you guys are doing is great. You guys need to go more on your customers to create awareness, to create not only your products that you are selling, but create awareness when it comes to even teach them how to even create passwords. Trust me, people are lazy, or people don't even know how to create passwords, because you would enforce, the application would enforce strict password that use a capital letter, use a foreign key, use numbers, and somebody will just wake up because they say use capital letters. He's just going to do her name. Let's say Yao. He will do Yao with capital Y. What is wrong with you starting or putting the capital letter in the middle? So with this, I like to share my screen. I like to do a lot of like talk practicality. Now, let's say you are called Yao. and your date of birth is 1987 or 1988, and you want to use this to create passwords, or you want to use this year 1988, because yes, we tend to forget our passwords. So this is what you can remember. The easiest thing you can do is just create your password, change the A to at. Do not put capital letter, because if a malicious attacker or a malicious person is trying to create a password dictionary to put for your account, because I know that people would always start their passwords with a capital letter. I will start all my things with capital letters. But what happens if you put a capital letter in the middle or at the end? So I just do this. Then instead of writing 1, I use this sign representing 1. I use G representing 9. Then I do 88. Then I can even bring, now if I want to use year 1988 for my Facebook, for my Twitter, for my Gmail, all I can do is I can just type Facebook. So this can be for my Facebook account. This can be for my Gmail account. And it's simple to remember. Yao 1988 Facebook FAB Yao Gmail GM at 1988. So you can just play with these combinations. Where there's an A, you can either put, where there's an A, you can even put 4 to represent your A, so that you can have complexity when it comes to your password. And with these characters and stuff like this, attackers will find it very difficult to even guess your passwords. So we shouldn't use one password for all our accounts. If I compromise one account, I'll compromise all your other accounts. Then also another thing that we can do is when it comes to, I heard you talking about clean desk policies. We shouldn't leave documents and papers lying around on our desks as corporate staff. We didn't leave documents, and that is why I would encourage that every organization gets a shredder or something, that documents that are printed that are not used and so forth you can do this, and then you can just put it in a shredder, or make sure that you are always, when you are leaving your workplace, to the house, you are closing, pack all your papers, all your documents, whether it's important or not, pack them and then put it somewhere safe. So these are some of the things I can share. When it comes to infrastructure security and stuff, the company should make sure that they have policies in place that talks about compliance, that talks about data protections and all that. But what we really need in this country when it comes to cybersecurity is awareness creation. As simple as that. The whole point boils down to cyber awareness creation. If we are able to create much awareness and then teach, not only creating awareness and telling them what they shouldn't do and their do's and don'ts, but rather awareness creation where you are teaching them what they should do. Like don't use weak passwords. Then you give them scenarios and examples of how to create a better password or strong password. This is what we need as a country, and not just the awareness creation where you just come and tell them, do this, do this, do this. They'll hear it, and now when you are calling for awareness creation, you are even educating them. They'll tell you, we've heard it before. But let us back our awareness creations with demos like this, teaching them, making them see real life scenarios. Now teaching them and then educating them on the things that they need to do practically. Right. Something like a website, for instance. The last time I was sharing that, something like a website, for instance, when you create your company's website and stuff, you should do your own due diligence, or you should do your own checking before you even call even a pen tester to come and even pen test your website for you. And there are just simple things that if we share this knowledge, with other institutions and other corporate bodies, they can just pick it up. Something like enforcing the secured on the ATM.
Yes, Maxwell, let me ask you this. How should individuals...
I can hear you're saying something.
Right. How should individuals handle the management of the various passwords that they have? And I ask this because for different things, we have different passwords. There's a PIN number for your fuel card. There's a PIN number for your ATM. There's a PIN number for your Yahoo address. There's a PIN number for your Gmail. There's a PIN number for Facebook. There's a PIN number for Twitter. There's a PIN number for everything. I have on occasion gone to an ATM and tried to enter my fuel card number. It was only on the second attempt I realized I was using the wrong password. How should we manage our passwords? And as you answer that question, sort of give us your final comments on this conversation, that if you remember nothing from the conversation today on digital finance and personal cybersecurity, what should we go away with?
Okay, thank you, Yao. So when it comes to password management, I would say you can use a password manager, but like I always tell people, that is not the safest. The safest is remembering everything in your head. That is why I did that scenario by teaching them by teaching us how to create passwords with just YAR 1, YAR 1988. Be skillful in your password creation. So if it is a PIN number that you don't want to forget, or you have like 5,000 or 500 accounts and you want to use the same password for it, be skillful in doing that. If it is Facebook, add some FAB or some FBC. If it is Gmail, add some GMA. Add something whereby you can just use the same YAO 1988 to create all your passwords by changing them, changing letters to numbers, changing numbers to letters, putting the capital letters in the middle, putting the capital letters in the end, putting capital letters at the starting and at the end. Doing these combinations, that is the best way you can manage your passwords. But if you think you would forget your passwords, the best thing you can also do is get a password manager. And the password managers, let's go for the paid password managers. I don't know how much it costs though, but it will not cost much, because these free password managers, trust me, like Dr. Jansen said, in every hour, over 5,000 new apps are created, malicious apps are created. I can sit somewhere and create a malicious app called Password Manager to manage your passwords for you. And I'll make it free. If you download that Password Manager and you start saving your password, I'll end up getting all your passwords. But if you are paying for a service and there is a compromise or there is something going wrong, you can go and then hold the company responsible for it. We spend a lot of money doing stuff. We spend a lot of money buying, let me say, food, pizza, doing our hair, makeups, clothing and stuff. Let us also spend money buying paid apps on our phones, antiviruses on our phones, password managers. If you want to use a password manager, use a paid one. If you want to use a VPN, use a paid VPN on your phones and all that. That can help. But like I said, security, it's not 100%. So that password manager is not even 100% for you. Your 100% security is you. So if you can keep everything in your head and then play with how you create your passwords, that's fine. Now, my final comment, what I like to say is security has come to stay with us. Cybersecurity has come to stay with us, whether we like it or yes, because internet has come to stay with us. So it's one internet that has come to stay with us. We need to secure ourselves. So we should safeguard ourselves. We should security. The weakest link when it comes to security is us, me and you, we human beings. So we should be high alert. The same way you would walk around circle, you walk around condition, and you safeguard your purse or safeguard your phone, because you know that if you play loose, somebody can just pick you or outsmart you. It's the same way we should guard our devices, or it's the same way we should guard ourselves when we are on the internet. We should put that in mind, that the same way you guard your stuff when you are walking around circle and around condition, do same when it comes to security of your devices when you are on the internet. And if we should have that particular mindset and do that particular due diligence, we should always do that particular due diligence. You get a message from CalBank that A, B, and C. Do not trust it that CalBank has sent you the message. Do a second verification by calling, because you have CalBank's toll-free number. If CalBank have a toll-free number, if you're a customer of CalBank, you have that toll-free number. Put that in mind, that you will just have to call CalBank, because that is the reason why CalBank placed their call centers and are paying the agents for handling the call centers. Call and then get a second feedback or get a second authentication. Verify the second time. You send this thing. Is it from CalBank itself? Is CalBank running this kind of promo? Those are the things that we should put in place, and then let it stick in our mind, and then change our ways. That's what I can share, y'all. Over to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Maxwell. This has been very, very insightful. I wish we had a bit more time, but I'm sure that when we come again with this show, with the next series, probably the 7th edition, we'll spend a bit more time with you so that you can educate some of our listeners. Doc, I'm coming to you now to share your final thoughts. But before that, I have a few acknowledgements. Some of our customers and our stakeholders have joined us. Thank you so much for joining us on these series so we can share ideas and make our country great and strong. Mr. Tefe from Papaya Foods, you have joined us. If you're a customer, you've joined us. By all means, send your questions in the chat box. We're interactive now. Send your questions, send your comments. We can read them here live on the show and also acknowledge you. Mr. Tefe is watching us from Papaya Fast Foods. Thank you so much for supporting the business of CalBank all these years. We're very grateful for your time and also for joining us today. I also have Chantel Apia-Kubi. Chantel Apia-Kubi is also watching us from the neighborhood supermarket. Chantel, thank you so much for joining us. We have a question on social media, comment actually. This one says, this is a very informative and educative discourse. However, I have an examination today, okay. Will a recording of this be available subsequently? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. And this one came from Oseiwusu. I think it was on Teams. There's another one here. It's anonymous. It says, coming back to the data protection law, what is your take on last year's release of voter details by the Electoral Commission, given that our banking system relies heavily on our electoral details? Where do we stand in as far as data breach and data theft is concerned? Doc, maybe you'll take this one for me, and after you answer it, you can give us your final comments. Martha will also share perspective when it comes to...
Let me get a question.
So his point is the leak of the voter register vis-a-vis the data protection law. Where do we stand? How does it affect us? Because again, that's the same data that is used for customer data in the banking sector.
I would answer this question not as a police officer, but I would want to answer it as a cybersecurity professional.
Right.
It is, for me, this is me, not as a police officer. Let me make it clear again.
Disclaimer issued.
Yes. Because I have to answer, I cannot say I wouldn't answer, but obviously, anything that would share my private information, it's a breach of data protection.
It's not the best.
It's not the best. And therefore, because through those pieces, somebody can pick those pieces, go fish out a lot about me online, and you can, if you get somebody who plays around data, a lot of data could be gotten out of that small thing that they put out there. So for me, as a cybersecurity professional, I think it is wrong.
Right.
I'm not talking for the police service.
Right.
Please.
Disclaimer acknowledged.
Yes.
But your final comments, Doc, on this entire conversation.
Yeah. Let me commend the gentleman. I think he's done pretty well. I always say that, particularly on passwords, I always say that you just tell your staff, change your password every month. This head is very difficult to keep all those things. I mean, but it's good the way he has put it. I always prefer a password phrase. Where you can, for example, I spend 5 Ghana cedis every day. Spend 5 Ghana, I can make it $5. Every day, full stop at the end, boom.
Let me share a joke with you
at the beginning.
On the passphrase.
Yeah.
So there's a story, and it actually happened in this country, in a certain bank. Now, they have tight security, and the security is controlled from outside of this country. But the manager used to take his laptop home. And those times, laptops were not all over the place with iPads. So his kids used to play with his laptop and play computer games on his laptop. Now, every time he goes to work the following morning, He has to change his password, and they have to send a ticket to some country. So at some point, they changed it for him again. He went home, he came back, and he couldn't log on. So they called him and said, what do you do with your laptop when you close from work? He said, I take it home. He says, do you want to know the last password on your system? The person took off your password and put on their own password. And it was a 7-year-old son. The password was, Daddy, stop changing your password every day.
Okay.
I mean, that's the whole phrase.
Yes.
But, you know, when you talk about passwords,
it works. And I always say that, can we change it and make it from January? We can make it 1 Ghana cedi. February, 2 Ghana cedis. March, 3 Ghana cedis. Because, you see, changing these passwords every day is and that's why I say I think he's done pretty well. But one other thing that we should, I would want to talk about is let's make sure, particularly with antiviruses, we on our phones, we tend not to bother about it. Previously, we don't bother about antiviruses because for phones, you have a place where you go to the App Store and then you download and you are sure that it is okay. But we've had situations where 5% of the apps that are put on app stores have been compromised. So it is no more that situation where you think that App Store is the best and therefore, so get an antivirus. That would help you. I mean, we should just not be, I mean, CalBank talked about this one-time password and all that. I mean, two-factor authentication and all those. It is good. And one thing that I also about our personal identification information, we put too much of our information out there. So many on social media in particular. On social media. Let's employ.
When we get a new phone, we snap a picture.
Oh, we
when we have a birthday. When we make a new friend.
I mean, everything about you is on social media. I always say that if I want to investigate somebody and he's related to the wife, I'm very sure I'll get a lot of information. Because one, if I get to know you, I get to know the wife, I'll get to know the children, I'll get to know the whole family.
Your friends.
So it helps. For me, it is good. But the truth is that the criminals may have a lot of information. So let's employ the privacy settings on our, so most of these social media platforms, they have privacy settings. Use them. Make sure that you use them. So that at least you can reduce the amount of...
Be interested in the security settings if you're interested in the app. You're right.
Yes. So be interested in privacy, security, these two things. Make sure that you reduce it to the barest minimum. Take a look at it and see how it can help your security. And most of them can do wonders. They can hide a lot of information that you wouldn't even think about. But we just don't go there. So I know we don't have time. So let me
Before
end
you
here.
go, though, I'd like you to just sort of, in 30 seconds, harp on the reality of cybercrime today in Ghana for me. Just harp on it for me. Just 30 seconds. It's real. You are investigating these cases every day. What are some of the, statistics? Just share some information so that our listeners can understand that it's not something behind the glass.
Okay.
It's here.
It is here. I think I'm the first head of the cybercrime unit for the police service, so at least we've never seen a decrease in the number of cases. It keeps increasing. And the only good news is that the amount that we lose decreased in 2018, which was good, probably because we started this awareness in the schools and it helped. But even last year, because of COVID, we saw an increase. In 2019, we recorded about $11 million. In 2020, it increased to $90 million. But we saw that decrease from 2018 of $105 million. So it is real. And apart from fraud, the next thing that I know this one doesn't bother on digital financing, but the truth is that sex extortion is on the increase, and it's ranked number 2 last year. I mean, now the target is not just ladies. It used to be ladies alone. Now the target is guys. And so now somebody will just befriend you, which is one of the models that we've seen now. He befriends you, and then you go on WhatsApp to chat. One day you receive a call on WhatsApp call, and then the next thing is that you see a lady with the V-boot opened. You understand what I mean? And then naturally, I mean, every man would want to watch. They take screenshots of it. The next thing is that, Master, you are watching the thing. So now it is made public. Pay or else we just
Expose you.
expose you. So it is something that now big guys, ministers, MPs, I mean big guys, because they can pay. So let's be careful, particularly when we befriend people we don't know, so-called beautiful girls, and sometimes it's even guys. What they do is that they just play the video on WhatsApp so that you think that it's a lady. But obviously, he will use a very beautiful lady's pictures. So we shouldn't trust whatever that we see on social media, thinking that it's real. You may want to go there, find ladies. People have found nice, beautiful wives on social media, but they are just few. If you are not careful, you will just be going in for something. So let's be careful.
Let's be careful. Let's be careful.
It's all about vigilance, due diligence, everything. Cybersecurity is about that one.
Martha, your final comments.
Yeah, digital finance has come to stay. It's the way to go now. As a bank, it's an avenue for us to create convenience for our customers. It's an avenue for us to drive inclusion, which is very critical, because driving inclusion, we are also going to touch on poverty alleviation, because we're going to be able to support a lot more people, not only in the urban areas, but then the rural as well. And then it's going to impact on people's lives. So digital finance is the way to go. As CalBank, we've invested hugely in it. And what I would say to our customers and prospective ones is the fact that we are not just offering digital financial service, but we are also considering security. And for that matter, we ensure that our platforms are very secured. We ensure to update our platforms regularly. And then we ensure that authentication for transactions and on the various platforms are very solid. Most of our platforms are three-factor, authentication, and that provides more comfort for our customers and for prospective ones. So we are encouraging customers and prospective ones. If you don't have our app, download it as we speak, and then utilize it and make banking more convenient for you and for others around you because of our transfers. If you do not have our USSD service, please self-subscribe through your phone, star 771, and then also use our agent banking locations, find an agent in your area, transact there without necessarily coming to the bank. So just to give comfort to our customers, we are offering all these platforms, and we've ensured that proper security is in place.
And our agency network spreads across.
Yes, the regions.
We're in Accra, we're in the regions, everywhere you go. Just look out for the CalBank agent.
We're in Volta region, even though there's no CalBank branch, we are still in the Volta region as well. Yeah.
Right. We're coming to Volta region very soon. Okay. So if you're a CalBank customer or you're a potential CalBank customer, here's some great information for you. Forget the cash. Using the CalBank app gets even more exciting. Share the fun as you split bills among your buddies. Scan QR codes, generate or redeem tokens, and so much more using the CalBank app as we work together to stop the spread of the coronavirus. The app also allows you to instantly send money to friends and loved ones, shop and pay for goods and services from our e-shops, and also have them delivered to you. You can pay your bills, purchase airtime or data bundles, and change your card limits, block and unblock your debit cards, and do so much more. What's more, you don't even need to have a CalBank account in order to use the CalBank app. Also, all you have to do is to link any Visa or MasterCard, MTN mobile money wallet to the app, and you're good to go. So forget the cash and download the CalBank app today from the Play Store and App Store, and stay on top of your money anytime and anywhere with our quick and easy and secure CalBank app. Why wait when you can have fun whilst banking? Visit the Play Store or the App Store to download it today, or call us on toll-free 0800 500 500, or you can chat with us online or on our social media platforms or on our WhatsApp. You can also contact us on email via customercare@calbank.net. CalBank, we say forward together. I've got a few acknowledgements. There are a few of our customers who are watching with us. I've got Auntie Lizzie of Bane Villas. I've also got Auntie AC of Silver Lobster Hospitality. Thank you for watching us and being a part of this program and sharing some thoughts with us also. We've got Jeffrey Yeboah of Apple for All. Jeffrey Yeboah, Apple for All, and BM Premier Computers. All of these are customers from our KNUST branch in Kumasi. Thank you so much for joining the program today. We've also got our SIT Academy. Kelvis, you're watching us. Timewise, Mr. Pels. GR Industries, Mr. Suresh. Cubica Energy, Leslie. And Intelligent Capital, Letitia Brown. You also joined us. I've got Target Link, Mr. Gabriel Kwarting, and Assured Advisors Limited, Mr. Victor Nati. I've got a few more people here. I've got Geshon Kwekusogbe of Waste 360 Environmental Services, and I've got Alan Abu Bonsera of Boskrish Ghana Limited. I've got Na from Nadu Maj Ventures. Thank you so much. All of you have taken the time out to join us. This has been exciting. It's been the 6th edition of the CalBank webinar series, and this has been coming to you live from the CalBank head office here at number 23 Independence Avenue at Rich. We will come your way again sometime soon with another exciting conversation just to help us share ideas and create awareness and to make our businesses grow and to make our nation great and strong. Thank you so much for staying with us. We've been coming to you live via Zoom and on Facebook and also on Microsoft Teams. Until we come your way again next time, thank you so much. This has been the CalBank webinar series. Thank you so much for watching and see you same time next time.